All right, everyone. Good morning, evening, good day. Now, all depending on what time it is that you're watching and or listening to this. If you are watching, you can already see something looks slightly different. And that is just me today. No Marcel, just Kevin here. And I am actually recording from my home for this episode. Unfortunately, life happened and we had some scheduling conflict issues. So we decided to go ahead and at least get an episode out to you guys. And I'd be recording alone. And hopefully, Marcel, he'll be able to get in on it and get an episode out on his own maybe later this week. And if you guys get lucky, might get 2 episodes this week. How many of you are actually out there listening to us is another story, but hopefully we get this all to work out and you guys will enjoy this. So for this episode, what we're thinking about doing is talking about nutrition. And this is going to be like a multi-part thing because nutrition is a very important aspect in not only fitness, but in life, or at least it should be. Um, if you just don't take care of yourself, what you eat can affect how you take care of yourself. If you don't eat very well, you're not taking care of yourself. And on top of that, it leads to a lot of other things when it does come to fitness, with how you eat and what you're eating. One really good kind of example that Luke has, I saw him post one time on Facebook. Luke is the owner at Capital Fitness here in Jeff City, which is where I like to spend most of my time at. He posted this photo. It was 2 photos side by side. One was like a value or some kind of meal from like McDonald's, for example, and then it had like the list of calories. And then on the other side of the photo was a bunch of healthy foods that had the same amount of calories in it. And yeah, same calorie count, but one fuel is going to treat your body differently than what the other fuel is going to treat your body. And that's one thing that I used to never really think about. I was like, oh, if I just eat a lot, I'll be all right. And I never could put weight on. As it's, if you've listened to some of the other episodes, when I was discussing my start on fitness and stuff, that I used to be a very small guy. Granted, I'm 6'3", so it's not like I'm short guy, but I was, high school, I was 140 pounds. Right now, as of this morning, I'm sitting at 213, which is where I'm wanting to go even up from there. I'm trying to pack the weight on right now, but I'm trying to pack healthy weight on. But even when I was younger, I was like, oh, I need to muscle up, need to bulk up. I just would eat, not really thinking about what I was eating. It was when I really started paying attention to what I was eating is where I realized I was actually gaining proper weight and actually able to gain weight on top of that. So some of the things to really think about if you want to just be healthy in general is, making sure you're getting your square meals of the day, making sure you're getting your greens and your vegetables and your grains and the right amount of protein and stuff like that. But now for my aspect, I'm I'm keeping track of what I'm eating now. I never really have up until about a month ago. I finally started tracking my stuff, and I've noticed a big difference. Within that month, I have jumped up in decent amount in weight, but also with that jump and decent amount of weight, it's a very healthy weight. Like, yeah, I like a month ago, I in the last month I've put on give or take 10 pounds. But that give or take 10 pounds, that 10 pounds is a good, strong 10 pounds. So for example, I like to use this app called MyFitnessPal, and in it you could track your food. You got a list for breakfast, a list for lunch, dinner, and your snacks. You can even go as far as track how much water you're drinking on it, and the tracking of your exercise is more like your steps. It's not going to track like, oh, I went to the gym and did, you know, chest day and this is my exercises, and it's not going to help track the calories burned off that. But the way this is set up is for me to gain 1 pound, I think every week, which I'm exceeding that, and that's because I'm exceeding its criteria. Its criteria for me is 3,650 calories a day. And as of right now, at 5:30 in the evening, with no dinner yet, I'm already at 3,745, which is 95 calories over, which is fine because I'm wanting to get that extra. But like if you look through here, other than my lunch today, my lunch was, I guess, a cheat meal if you want to call it that. But other than that, like my breakfast, and this breakfast that I'm getting ready to list off is kind of my average breakfast that I'm running with here lately. I have about an average of 4 eggs. I usually scramble it because I am throwing it on a bagel with a little bit of cream cheese. And I also, with that, have 2 packages of Kodiak oatmeal. Kodiak is a very high protein style oatmeal. Let's see here. Yeah, in one package, there is 31 grams of carbohydrates and 12 grams of protein in one package. I'm having 2, so that's 62 grams of carbs and 24 grams of protein. So, that's a decently healthy, but also more for the bodybuilding style, because I'm trying to get into bodybuilding, like getting that body weight up and stuff. So I'm trying to pack the weight on. So that's also it's a healthy breakfast, but it's also a very large breakfast in a way, because that's going to put weight on you. But that's what I'm going for. Now, I think Marcel likes to make fun of my shakes I make. But he has every right to, because my shakes are around my one shake I make is right around 100 grams of protein in the one shake, and more than 100 grams of carbohydrates. That's because we got a nice big blender, and so I just chuck a whole bunch of crap in there, blend it up, and I'll pound it. And in that, for example, I put yogurt in it. I'm always really bad about the name of this yogurt. Chobani, Chobani is the yogurt I use. That's just what I like. It's lower on the sugar side of other things, and it doesn't have the aspartame that's in it that they put in some things with 0 sugar, which is actually, in my opinion, worse for you than sugar. Then I put this, it's called Whole Berry Melody. It's just frozen fruit, mixed fruit that we have. It's got like blueberries and strawberries and I think raspberries and blackberries and stuff like that. So I'm putting about a cup of that. The yogurt I usually put about 4 to 6 ounces. A banana, about a cup of baby spinach, 2 scoops of Axel Sledge's Farm Fed. Right now I'm using the s'mores because I'm not a big fan of that flavor. Well, I take it back. I like the flavor. I don't care for the little marshmallows inside of it, but a lot of people do really like it. I like it to use for my shakes because the marshmallow things throw me off. And then we're doing 2 tablespoons of the peanut butter powder. And yeah, that's my shake. And then I add, if I have it, I put almond milk in it to kind of cut back on the fat from the milk. But if not, then I'm putting milk in it because I'm not drinking that with water. I just rather get the little extra bit with the milk or the almond milk, and deal with the fat than just drinking the water. But I mean, that's my crazy fat boy shake is what I like to call it, even though it's a very, very healthy shake. So again, looking at that and how I eat, back in the day when I was like, oh, I'm gonna put the weight on, I would go to the Wendy's and get like a triple decker and large fries and a Frosty and slam that all down one meal. I'm like, oh yeah, it's gonna put weight on. Yeah, I probably will put weight on. Put weight on around my stomach where I don't want it, and put bad weight. It's gonna put fat. So yeah, don't want that. So that's one thing I've really kind of come along and learned through the years is there's a difference between good nutrition, bad nutrition. There's a difference between good carbs, bad carbs. Another thing I've learned here very recently within the last month of tracking this is your macros, and where it actually breaks down the amount of how many grams of this and that, your fat, your carbohydrates, your protein that you're eating. And your body does need fat. So like, I eat zero fat stuff. Like your body needs fat. For example, what's that show? Alone. There's a show called Alone where people go out in the wilderness and they survive with whatever they have an X amount of items they're allowed to bring with them, and they've got to survive as long as they can hopefully they're the last person standing, but they don't know who's quit, who's not, how many people left, and you could be out there for months, a year, you don't know. And for good example is this one guy, one of the episodes, he killed himself a moose. That's a lot of food. Thing is, moose is very lean. There's almost no fat. Kind of like venison, deer. There's hardly any fat in that. Unlike your cows are going to have a lot of fat. He got himself a big old moose. Well, he got pulled from the show for starvation. He still had a crap load of food left. That's because he wasn't getting the right type of nutrients. When this other guy, he was eating, if he got lucky, he had a trout, like one or two trout a week. So he wasn't eating much, but that trout had different type of nutrients in it, had that omega-3 fatty acids, and his body needed that. So when it comes to, figuring out what to do with nutrition, you need to figure out what your goal is in the long run anyways. My goal right now is pack that weight on. If I had it my way, I'd put another 20 pounds on. If my wife had it her way, I'd only be putting maybe 10 pounds more on. But so I'm eating and tracking my food and regulating what I'm eating to correlate with what I want, which is I want to gain the weight, but I want it to be good, healthy weight. And so I'm trying to make sure I eat things that are high in protein, high in carbohydrates, but that's healthy for me. That is like the main key when it comes to nutrition is healthy nutrition. Let's see. There's another subject or another topic bullet on that that's slipping my mind right now. But with that being said, this little segment of the episode is just to show, not really teach you anything, but more to give you an idea with what I'm working with currently. Just gives you another perspective. And so again, I'm working towards my goal. Your goal might be, completely opposite. Your goal might be you want to run a marathon. Well, your nutrition habit and your food habit is going to be completely different than mine. Just like someone who's running for a marathon and someone who's training for a powerlifting competition are going to be doing completely different exercises. Every different goal is going to make everything within that to make that goal happen be different. So if you're curious on, what should I do for me for nutrition? Well, my first suggestion is which is this same thing I did. Went online and looked up what people suggested to do that were training for this type of thing. When I first started doing it was, what are people doing to train, for powerlifting? And so I looked up, saw the type of foods they were making, what diet plans they were on, meal plans, what kind of, what kind of, excuse me, ingredients they were using within their foods. And I started basing my stuff off that. And then now, I'm kind of want to do bodybuilding. So it's like, all right, I'll need to bulk up. So I looked up, meal plans for people needing to bulk for bodybuilding. And I went through and did some research and came up with some stuff. And, my wife's helping me on that too. She's been a very big help, motivating me to, stay on task, and also helping when I forget to pick up certain things from the store. She's already remembered to do it or put it on the, online shopping, online pickup for the store and stuff like that. So again, you just need to find your goal of what it is that you want to do. And then if you don't know how to do your nutrition from there, you could hire a nutritionist, and they're going to take hopefully they should take great care of you and giving you a plan and showing you what you do, what you need to do. Or if you're like, I'm not really at the point where I want to spend money like that yet, just go online, look up, this is my goal. What should I do? Do some research, figure it out, and go from there. Because again, that's what I did, and it's working pretty good. It probably would be better if I was working with a legit nutritionist and trainer and everything. Which I did work with trainer for the power lifting, excuse me. But it was just for the workout side, not the nutrition side. And yes, that was Marcel. He was a huge help for that. But another thing, the subject I was wanting to say earlier, I forgot. When you are tracking your stuff, this is something I learned like week 1 when I started tracking, and Marcel gave me a good hazing for this. Pay attention to what you're tracking. For example, on my FitnessPal app, I typed in because we had some kind of some kind of burrito thing from this. I think it was like from Food Truck or something like that. And obviously they're not going to have that exact thing on there. So you need to find something close sometimes. And I wasn't paying completely attention, and I clicked on something that ended up supposedly had like 3,000 calories in the one meal. And it's like, no, that probably wasn't true. So want to pay attention with that. But while on that note, also the MyFitnessPal, I'm sure other apps have it too. But there's actually an option when you go to add a food. There's up on the top right corner on it. There looks like a little barcode with like a little ring around it. Well, if you tap that, you can actually scan the barcode of your food, and it automatically brings it up, and you just have to adjust the serving size and how many servings of that you're having, which is awesome. It takes all the work out of it. You can also, if it's a meal that you're regularly having and you make it the exact same way every time, you can set up like specific meals where it memorizes those, and all you gotta do is grab it. And it's like, hey, I had this for lunch. Hey, I had this. Hey, I had that. And it automatically pumps it in. You don't have to go through every time, put every single little ingredient, or not ingredient, but every single little thing you had. Like, well, I had chicken quesadilla. So here's tortilla. I had 2 tortillas. Here's chicken. I had X amount of chicken. Here's cheese. You can just chicken, cheesy tortilla, boom, bam, on there. All right. So with that being said, I hope this kind of gives you a little insight, not only in like what I'm doing, but kind of like gives you an idea of where to go from if you're trying to figure out what to do with nutrition. I'm sure Marcel's going to be much more in depth with his side of it because this is more his area of expertise, I will say. I am still very, very novice with this side of it and still figuring it out some. So I hope it was informational for you again, or at least it's pointing you in the right direction. Thank you. This has been fun with doing these podcasts. I hope you guys are liking it. Hope you guys are gonna keep pushing and maybe letting other people know, like, hey, check this podcast out, see what you think. Again, feel free to reach out to us if you have questions, concerns, dislikes, or have ideas for subjects that you would like to hear us talk about. You can reach out to me on Instagram at KevinGlenn89, or just comment on the YouTube page or whatever, and I'm we can look through those and hope things keep moving forward from here. All right, well, thank you everybody, and see you next time.